Due to popular demand, I'm going to be ranking every NPC vehicle in today's video. Now, on the community post I made about 2-3 days ago, it said there was 162 vehicles in total I was going to be ranking. There's actually a lot more than that. There was around 208 instead of 162. Now, I had to set some ground rules for this because you technically can rank every single vehicle in the game to some degree, because whether you're in a mission or not, every vehicle has been driven by an NPC at least like one time. So what I'm limiting it to is if you can find these just driving around outside of a mission. And I'm including story mode and GTA Online. So that's why there's so many vehicles. And when you see most of these in your GTA Online player, you might think I'm spitting a whole lot of shit out of my mouth. But I promise you, every one of these vehicles in this video is driven by an NPC in story mode or GTA Online. So without further ado, let's get started with the first vehicle at 208. Everyone can agree with me, the Police Maverick being the police helicopter, worst vehicle in the game because it's so hard to escape from and they're just really annoying. The Police Predator is actually the police boat in the game, and I don't really have any opinion about it. You don't see it often, so it just exists. The Trash Master in this game is the trash truck, and everything tied to it is just horrible. Series A heist, or you're selling an MC business, it's just not fun to use. We have the Duster, which is a plane used to grow crops or anything like that, and I don't really have anything to say about it. It's just a really slow plane. Same thing with the Buzzard. This is not the attack Buzzard. This is the one that has no machine guns, and it's kind of pointless to have because you have the attack one, and you can't even buy this one anyway. Now we have the big Boeing jet from the airport in story mode. Unfortunately, you can't even get this online, so it's just kind of there as a placeholder. Then the Cuban 800, similar to the Trash Master. It's just a really slow plane. You can get it for some cell missions, and you just never want to get it because it's just horrible. Now we have the train, the Unstoppable Train. You can't do much with it. You can't blow it up, you can't steal it, you can't drive it, can't do much. Then we also have the Transit Train, similar thing, except this one can actually stop for you. The Sea Shark is a vehicle that you will probably find yourself occasionally driving here and there, but again, you're not on the water too much. And then same thing with the Sea Shark Lifeguard variant. A lot of people might not even know this exists in the game, but it's really only in story mode. And the next 5 are boats. First up, we have the Tropic, we have the Squallow, the Sun Trap, the Jetmax, and the Marquise. All these boats are pretty bad. We have the Cruiser, which is just a really old bike. I don't really know what to say about it. The next 4 are dump trucks. First up, we have the Biff, then the Rubble, the Tipper, and then a scrap truck, which isn't really a dump truck, but it can be used in that sense. We have the Journey, which is just a really slow meth lab type of van. It's really rusty. You can do a really fun thing with it where if you turn really sharp left and right constantly, it will go on 2 wheels, which is pretty cool. We have the Regina, which is just a really slow car. It's a sedan, nothing cool about it. The Ingot's arguably even worse, but these two can be interchanged. The Dune Loader is also another really slow vehicle from Sandy Shores, but if you have a bunker, this can get you $50,000, so it's pretty cool. The Voodoo is really slow as well. I think it looks better than the previous vehicles. Emperor is a little bit better than the last few just because why not, I guess. The Surfer looks pretty cool. Has a really glossy look, and it's a hippie van. The Monana is a vehicle driven by the gangs in the game, and you can find a custom version of it. Same thing with the Peyote. You can find a yellow version, green version, or purple version of this car. And same thing with the Tornado. Another gang vehicle, and this one is probably the best out of all of them in terms of performance. The Kalahari was a vehicle I actually didn't know NPCs drive until I came across it. Nothing really special there. Next up, we have all of the different transportations. We have the Tour Bus, which looks the best in my opinion out of all the buses, but its placement can be interchanged between all these. The Rental Shuttle Bus, pretty much the same thing as a tour bus, but it's a rental shuttle bus instead of a tour bus. We have the Dash Hound, then we have the normal bus, and then the airport bus. All these are pretty bad. We have the Taxi as well. This can actually be utilized in taxi work in GTA Online, and you can also get an upgraded one from the Arena War. We have the Ripley, which I can't honestly remember off the top of my head what this is, but you'll see in the gameplay. Obviously, it's nothing crazy because I can't even remember what it looks like. And the next like 10, 15 are all utility vehicles. First up, we have the Lawnmower. You can't mow lawns in this game. It's really slow, so it's not really that good. We have the Dock Tug, which is a rare vehicle in the game that NPCs can drive that have bulletproof windows to some degree. We have the Caddy. It's just a caddy. We have the Air Tug, which is really only found in story mode, and I believe they're used to pull planes into like a dock or something. We have the Speedo, which is just a utility van. The Rumpo, again, another utility van, and same thing with the Pony. Burrito as well. Boxville is just a terrible vehicle. If you get it for like MC cell missions, you're not gonna have a fun time. And the next are all just called utility trucks. So we have the first one, the second one, and then the third one, which is my favorite because it's an actual truck. We got the Fieldmaster, which is just a tractor in the game. You can't really do a whole lot with it besides drive it around. The two tow trucks, the first one we have the small one. You can't purchase this in online. You don't even see it in online. Only accessible in story mode. I wish we could get it. Then we have the big one as well. You can own this with the chop shop, but you can't drive it unless you're doing a mission. A taco van? I mean, it's a taco van. I wish you could buy some tacos from it. The mule is a vehicle that probably shouldn't be this high, but I'm very indifferent about it. It's just a really bad vehicle. You get the mule custom for nightclub cell missions, which is not great. The mixer, which again is just a concrete transportation vehicle. The flatbed, which you think you can tow vehicles on it, you'd be mistaken. The prison bus kind of has a lot of bad things tied to it, because in the game, pretty much every mission that involves it takes a long time or is very tedious. The next 5 are the rest of the bikes except for one. We have the Fixter. I didn't even know this existed until I made this video. The Tricycles race bike. Again, it's just a race bike. The Endurex race bike and the Whip It race bike. And then the one at the top of all those is a Scorcher. It's the mountain bike, and I believe it looks the coolest out of all of these. We have the Dilettante, which is the Prius in the game. I don't like Priuses. I'm sorry, but get them away. Then we have the Patrol Prius, but a lot of you don't even know this exists unless you do the salvage yard robberies. We got 3 semis next up. First one is the Hauler. You can get a Hauler custom for the MOC, but this one, I mean, if you need a semi for like a mission, it exists. We have the Packer, which I just like the look of it, so that's why it's this high. And the Phantom, again, it's the other cab you can get for the MOC, and this is my favorite semi in the game. We have the Bagger, which is Franklin's bike. If any of you have played story mode for like 5 minutes, it's not a great bike. Same thing with the Damon. I don't really like bikes like this. And then the Hexer. I think that's the best looking one out of those. Next 4 are aircraft. First, we have the Atomic Blimp. I don't know if you can purchase this in online. I think you can, but the only time I really ever see this used is either in promoting the nightclub or speedrunning strategy in story mode. We have the Maverick, which arguably is a really bad helicopter, but if you need it, it can spawn in. Same thing with the Frogger. I like this helicopter a lot, actually, but if you don't need it, it's kind of useless. Same thing with the Luxor. It's at the airport. If you need a plane or something, it's there, but it kind of sucks. We're now getting into some land vehicles again. We have the Acia, which I believe is Lester's primary car. It's pretty bad. The Rat Loader is kind of like a collector's car. I don't think it's trash, but it obviously isn't any good with performance or anything. With the Picador, I like the sound of it. The look is kind of goofy. I don't like trucks that look like this, but it's there. It has a charm. The Landstalker, kind of a bad SUV that NPCs drive. Same thing with the Habanero, the FQ2, the Radius, the Serrano, the Yuga, the minivan. All of those are pretty bad SUVs. We have the Washington, which is kind of a bad sedan in the game. Maybe it should be ranked lower, but who really cares? We have the Premier, which I can't quite remember what this car is, but I'm pretty sure it's just another 4-door sedan. Same thing with the Stanier, Primo as well. The Glendale came out, I believe, with Next Gen, and it's pretty rare to come across this in story mode. Same thing with the Pagali. These two came out with, I believe, Next Gen, and they exist in the game. We have the Mesa, which is the Jeep you'll see a lot of NPCs driving, and I don't really have anything negative about it. With the Asterope, I like hitting this car with the Vigilante, if that's anything. The Surge is pretty similar to the Prius earlier. It's an electric car, front-wheel drive, and it's pretty bad. The ESC is only this high up because I love smashing it with the Vigilante. It's fun just hitting this because it's like a bowling pin. The Prairie is a vehicle that I kind of hated for a while, but now I actually appreciate it because it can look pretty cool, but it is front-wheel drive. Same thing with the Ballista. Looks pretty cool. It's front-wheel drive though, but I still like the look of it. The Bensons have a lot of memories tied to them with me. On Series A, when you get them stuck all the fucking time trying to come out of the Mount Chiliad Bridge. The Stockade has a lot of missions tied to it, and it's really not that bad of a vehicle, but, you know, if you have to drive it, you have to drive it. It's really not that bad. And the Pounder. Whenever you get this for, like, MC cell missions, you're always so excited, because it's one delivery, it's pretty fast, and you can push it with the Vigilante. Now, back to just generic NPC vehicles, we have the BJXL. Yeah, very weird name, but you'd probably know this from the introduction to Michael. We have the Injection, which is an off-road dune buggy you can find in Sandy Shores. The Rancher XL, which I actually do like the look of this SUV a lot, but it's nothing special. We have the Granger, which is kind of a similar story. I like the look of it, but it's nothing special. First, Cavalcade, don't really care too much, and then it has a second one as well. They're kind of whatever. Sometimes you'll have to drive them, sometimes you don't. We have the Seminole. This is probably the most average vehicle you're going to see in GTA. You see these everywhere in real life. We have the Gressley, which I don't really care too much for this vehicle. Doesn't really look that cool in my opinion. We have the Patriot, which is a very uncommon vehicle in GTA because not a lot of Hummers actually exist in this game. Now we have the two Ballers. The first one I really don't like too much. It does not look good, but then the second one looks very nice. It's like a more modern, luxurious type of baller. We have the Rakoto, which is more of a luxurious SUV. The Rusty Rebel can look very, very cool if you get like all the different rally customizations on it. The Dubsta, feeling different about it. It can be pretty fast, good customization, but you'd get this for the Dubsta 2, which is the rare version of it, but NPCs don't actually drive that one. The Bobcat XL, this I believe is actually in the SUV class, or in a class that it shouldn't belong in, and that's really the only thing notable about it. The Bison, I actually quite like the look of this truck. Same thing with the Sadler. They're both realistic looking trucks, and they look really nice. The Dinghy is a boat you'll use fairly often in GTA, probably the most recognizable and most used boat in the whole game. The Police Transporter, it exists if you have to drive it for like selling cargo or getting cargo or anything. It's pretty fast, it'll get the job done. The Police Riot Van is kind of the same idea. If you need to drive it, it'll get the job done. The Fire Truck, I mean, you could use the water on it. It's a really expensive in GTA Online, like $3 million, which is really overpriced. And then you have the Ambulance. This thing's pretty fast. I mean, it has to be for an ambulance, but that's pretty much it. We have the Sheriff Cruiser, which I really hate this thing because whenever you see it in Sandy Shores, you're like, God damn it. And then the Sheriff SUV. I don't recall ever seeing this driven by an NPC, but I'm pretty sure it exists. Police Cruiser 1, just whatever. And then the Police Cruiser 2, the most like common police cars you're gonna see. The Police Bike is a very rare vehicle you'll see in GTA Online, but it's actually really common in story mode. Same thing with the Park Ranger. It's very uncommon to see in GTA Online, but it's fairly common in story mode. The Barracks Semi, I don't see too often, even in story mode or online, but I'm pretty sure it's driven by NPCs. And then the Barracks, you'll see this spawn really anywhere on the map, and a lot of military people will drive this. Same thing with the Crusader. They're kind of like the default military vehicles. We have the Mesa Off-Road variant. I don't know if you can naturally spawn this in, or if you'll see NPCs driving it naturally, so it might not belong on this list, but I'm still going to put it here just for the off chance. Then we have the Cargo Pop, which is the military helicopter that can pick up vehicles in the game, so it's very useful. We have the big dump truck. Very uncommon to see this driven by NPCs because it only spawns in the quarry. If you have a bunch of friends, you can go to the quarry, drive dump trucks, and just have a good time. The Voltic is a car that I really don't like because it's electric and it kind of hurts my ears driving it, but it's still a pretty decent car if you need a vehicle. The Oracle is just kind of like a luxurious 4-door car you can get, nothing special. Tailgater is Michael's primary car. The Stratum is a vehicle that I slowly over time have actually liked a lot because you can make it look very nice. Same thing with the Intruder. Both of these vehicles can have really clean builds. The Jackal is just kind of an average high-class citizen vehicle. The Exemplar looks a lot like the Rapid GT, so that's why I kind of know what it looks like. The Felon GT and then the normal Felon, both, again, they're just average high-class citizen vehicles. The Penumbra is an Eclipse, and I really like this car. The Sentinel, the basic one, kind of whatever, but I will say that it's one of the better NPC vehicles. The Oracle XS is a very nice car in this game. It's primarily driven by Davey in story mode. The Zion Cabrio, I like the look of this car, but I'm not a fan of vehicles that can put the roof back, and then you just have the normal Zion, which I prefer more. The Serrano, which is a sports car in the game, similar to the Serrano, which is an SUV from earlier. They have very similar names, but the Serrano is a lot better. The Shafter is a pretty good NPC car, but if you have the V12 Shafter, this one just kind of sucks. The Fugitive, this is actually a fairly good NPC car. If you need one, this one will get the job done. It's pretty fast and good handling. The Schwarzer, now I've already put it on at this placement, so I can't really change it now, but this is one of my favorite sounding cars in the whole game. The BMX is the last, like, bicycle type of vehicle, and it's just really fun. You can do many tricks with it. The next few are like motorcycle ATV vehicles. First up, we have the Blazer. If you're in Sandy Shores or anywhere like that, it'll get the job done off-road or on-road, but it's pretty slow. Same thing with the Blazer Lifeguard. This one is just more rare to find. The Vader is just kind of your average motorcycle. Same thing with the PCJ 600, the Ruffian, the Nemesis. Sanchez is pretty good because it's a dirt bike, so it can get the job done a little bit better. But the Akuma and the Double T, those two are also pretty average bikes, but they're all fairly quick. The Sand King is one of my favorite trucks in the whole game because of how large it is. Then we have the SWB one, which is actually a pretty rare Sand King to come across. And then the Sand King XL, just a bigger version of the Sand King SWB. The Buffalo is one of the most common vehicles you'll come across, but it's one of the better ones. The Rhapsody is a very unique looking vehicle in the game, and I like it a lot. The Futo was one of the first drift cars in the game, and it's still probably one of my go-to NPC vehicles. Same thing with the Sultan. These two are kind of like interchangeable. The Bifta you're only going to see in story mode driven by NPCs, but it is a very good off-road vehicle if you need one. Now the next 10 or so are all going to be the muscle cars that are driven by NPCs. First we have the Buccaneer. I like the look of this a lot, but it doesn't really perform that well. The Gauntlet is a much better muscle car, but it doesn't have a whole lot going with it. The Sabre Turbo is a really nice looking muscle car, and you can get a lot more customization with that one. The Dominator, probably one of the better performing ones. Not a lot of customization. The Ruiner, one of my more favorite muscle cars in the whole game because of how it looks, performance and all that. It's just really good. The Phoenix can have really unique customization, so that's why it gets this high. The Vigero is a very nice looking car, and it kind of has physics from GTA 4. The Stallion is just a really nice muscle car to drive. I think people can agree with me on that. And then the Dukes, a Dodge Charger in the game. If you see one, you probably should take it from the NPC because they're very, very uncommon to see in GTA Online. Now we're on to the sports cars. We have the Fusillade. Not my favorite car ever, but it's still pretty fast, so it's better than a lot of NPC vehicles. The Warner, which is a very rare vehicle to come across, but it looks really clean. The Rapid GT Cabrio, again, I don't like vehicles that have their roof go back, but this car is still really good. And then the normal Rapid GT. Filter is a car that I think is removed off of GTA Online, but you'll see NPCs kind of driving it around a lot in like the higher class part of the city. Same thing with the Comet and the Coquette. Then we have the 9F Cabrio with the normal 9F. These two, I believe, are Audi R8s in real life, and I really like that car. The Carbonizer is a removed vehicle as well, and this car just performs really well. I believe it's based off of a Ferrari in real life, and it performs really good in the game. I have the Sentinel XS, just a sportier version of the Sentinel from earlier, and you can find a custom version of this in GTA Online. The Furore GT, I actually wasn't sure if this was driven by NPCs, but now I do know, and it's a pretty good vehicle. The Banshee is based off of a Dodge Viper, and this car is really good as an NPC car. Same thing with the Massacro. You're going to rarely ever see these, I believe, in GTA Online. Same thing with the Jester. I don't even know if those two vehicles are actually in Online. We have the Infernus, the first supercar driven by NPCs. It's pretty good, but not a whole lot going with it. And same thing with the Bullet, based off of Ford GT, and I really like those cars, but I think there's only 2 in the game, so this one I really like a lot. Now the rest of the vehicles are arguably the best NPC vehicles in the whole game. First up, we have the Rhino Tank. I mean, it's just a beast. If you're not in Online, this thing will pretty much do anything for you in story mode. Then we have the Buzzard Attack Helicopter, the attack version of the Buzzard, all the way at the bottom of the list. Very good. If you own one, you can spawn it right next to you in Online. The Batty 801, the best motorcycle in the game for its price tag. The FIB SUV, this one probably should be ranked with the other emergency vehicles, but I really like the FIB vehicles in this game because they're like undercover vehicles. Then we have the FIB Buffalo. I don't even know if this is driven by NPCs at all in free roam, but I'm still going to put it here. We have the Laser, which is arguably the best NPC vehicle in terms of just like speed, performance, battling people, just really anything. The Adder will be a story mode exclusive supercar you're only going to see there, and whenever you see one, it's always cool. Same thing with the Zentorno. You can see this actually customized, and if you want proof, you can go to like my first story mode with shaders video if you want to. And the top 2 are my favorite NPC vehicles. We have the Panto. It's a smart car in the game. It's great. A lot of memories with this. And then lastly, number 1, the Faggio. I don't think I have to say anymore. I mean, it is literally a moped. It's the best vehicle in the whole game. That has been every NPC vehicle ranked. If I missed a few here and there, I tried. I really tried to get every single one that fit the criteria that I was going for. If you made it to the end, please leave a like and subscribe. It took me so long to make this. You can even join my Discord server if you want to. If you got any great video ideas I should try, let me know in the comments as usual. And that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.